the price to entry for so many sports. If you go over to Europe, you go to South America, you go anywhere really. Soccer's being played on the street, in courts, in everywhere. It's being played constantly. Yeah. The price to entry is basically you have shoes.
Yeah, that's right.
Pretty much at the worst of it. And even then, you don't even need to have shoes. You can just go barefoot and it works.
Right.
In the U.S., the price to entry for so many sports is astronomically high.
Sure it is.
And if you want your kids to quote-unquote be the best and play against the best, you have to join all these travel club teams. And those costs are crazy nowadays. And so you've got but it's every sport is my thing.
I've never been big on that.
I've never been big on it either because I tried to go and play my high school baseball team, and I got told the reason I did not make it as a sophomore was because quote I didn't play on the travel team, so they didn't want to take me.
Yeah.
And it crushed me. I was 16 years old being told because I didn't play on a travel team, I wasn't allowed to make the high school team. So you're saying the price to entry to play in high school was thousands of dollars I had to pay for a travel. And that's what it is for a lot of sports. Where if you don't play on the elite travel teams, you aren't considered serious unless you are the best and they invite you and they pay for everything. If you're a Christian Pulisic, who was given the chance to go to Germany and go play over there with Dortmund. That doesn't happen for everybody. That happens for 1 in a million. Yeah. And the price to get to these places is thousands of dollars. And that can't be if we're going to have the ability to grow not just soccer, but also more baseball players and more basketball and more football and lacrosse and all the sports. Hockey. Right. It is expensive to play sports. Why is that? Why? It just shouldn't be. Sorry for going on my get on my pedestal here.
Between Jason and this guy here, I mean, they're a therapist that make a lot of money per hour. I have to sit here. I do a lot of listening.
You do a lot of listening, Steve Jones.
Anybody? Could you go out and get some cheese? Yeah. Go with his wine. No, but first of all, you're absolutely right. So it's not. There's nothing wrong. I remember when in 2014, Otto Porter played for Georgetown. Otto Porter was a first-round NBA draft pick. He was all Big East. And what made it so unusual is that Otto Porter's dad didn't want him playing AAU basketball. So he wasn't in the AAU circuit. Right? His father says, no. That's what made it like, wow, how did he possibly advance, on his own talent to get here? I've never been really in favor of travel teams. Look, anybody can live their life any way they wish. Anybody can raise their children any way they wish. It's not up to me to tell somebody what to do. But I've never been crazy about this stuff, right? Whereas I remember I know of people that took vacations, and their vacation was their son playing in a baseball tournament or a softball tournament or a soccer tournament, right? I'm like going, he's in a vacation, like just going someplace and getting away from everything. I mean, I'm just okay. And I would say I appreciate how much you're throwing into your child. But then you start getting into the systematic issue of what you just talked about, where you weren't on a travel team and it was held against you. Well, first of all, isn't it up to you to elect whether to be on a travel team? Isn't it up to your parents whether to elect to have you on a travel team? In other words, you're telling me poor kids can't be on a travel team? Poor to lower middle class kids can't be on a travel team? Who knows how much great talent we're missing in high schools and so forth because somebody has that standard. Right? Excuse me. That's why you have tryouts. Right? Guess what? You know what? That's why you have eyes. We're too much of an analytics world. So they've developed analytics on these kids by travel teams. Meanwhile, this guy over here can hit, field, run, but he's not on the travel team. Well, I'm going to, guess what? I don't care. You're cut. You're in. Right? My eyes tell me that, you actually know how to play. And that's... and soccer is like that too in this country. Travel teams, you got to be on the travel team to work your way up. It becomes a culture. You've got to work your way through the culture. It's like, you've got to go to, you've got to go to this camp, that camp. You got to go to the Manning passing camp. You got to do this. Like, okay, great. And I realize people are trying to get noticed. I do understand that.
But there's got to be a better way. So the Aspen Institute, through the Project Play initiative, found that average American families spend $1,000 over that annually on children's primary sports. Some spend up to $35,000 per year due to the rise of travel teams, equipment, private coaching, mandatory out-of-state tournaments, and more. If it costs $1,000 a year for a kid to play a sport, what are we doing? Right. I remember for me, it cost money to register to play in the local baseball league, but it was like a $10 or whatever it was, and it was all it went back to basically give make sure we have umpires and all of that, which That's whatever. Right. But that was the only price. It was just to play in the local rec league. It was a price. It's that entry point, and then if you need a glove, they'll find you a glove, and there's bats you can borrow from everybody else, and it works. But if you're spending $1,000 a year on average to play a sport,
look, when I grew up, and of course it's a long time ago, all right, there weren't travel teams.
No.
So, what we did? We would go down and we would play on the Little League field in the off season in pickup games. Mm-hmm. We would play pickup basketball. Mm-hmm. We would play pickup, touch football, things like that. We didn't play tackle football. And then when you finally got to junior high, you'd try out for the respective teams. Mm-hmm. Okay. And then go from there. And then eventually, if things worked out, you'd play in the high school team, but you'd have to try out for that too. But that's what we did. We played pickup sports. Mm-hmm. We'd get on our bikes.
You'd ride to a field.
We'd ride to a field. Sometimes it was a mile away. Mm-hmm. Maybe a mile and a half away, but you're on your bike. Different time. We had a dirt basketball court in our neighborhood. We played pickup basketball every night. Adults and teenagers playing against each other, and just right. And there was a dirt court that was 3 houses down. Every 6 o'clock every night, we'd go and play, we'd play maybe 3-4 games on a night to 15. Bum bum bum, done. Whole thing. Football, we'd play under a street lamp sometimes, right on the street because it'd be 2-hand touch and things like that. We wouldn't have to worry. That's what we did, right? We'd go to a pond. Okay, the pond eventually got removed, by the way, because they put a rink in, right?
But the pond would freeze over, and you'd play hockey.
We'd play hockey on the pond. Well, they took the pond out, built the rink, and guess what the rink, of course, meant? Organized hockey, and of course, it really helped right away that Craig Janney was one of the first guys to come out of it, because Craig Janney grew up one street over from me, right? He was one of the first guys to come out of it this guy's really good, and ends up being a first-round pick and his 12-year NHL career mostly with the Bruins. Yeah. Right? But that then gets the youth hockey part going because all of a sudden you've got a product of it that makes the league. Mm-hmm. Well, now, guess how many guys have made the league out of that youth hockey program since? None. All right, so... so a lot of people wasted a lot of money traveling all over the place, and it's like that. It always I know back when I was coaching baseball, basketball, and look, my whole thing was just playing guys, and I never coached a game ever. Mm-hmm. Where I played the guy the minimum. Mm-hmm. Never. Right? Now, when it came into situations, would you play situations to win? Hey, we need to steal a base. We got to bunt a guy over something, right?
Sure. Yeah.
Pitcher may be getting tired. Let's take him out. That's situational stuff. But in terms of playing kids, I'm sorry. I made sure I played every kid.
Everyone got at least 3 innings. 3 innings. Was kind of the number.
All the time. I made sure they got 3 innings no matter what. And if I could get everybody 4 innings by working the lineup, because I thought it was important that they played. Mm-hmm. I always tell the story about this. God bless this little guy. Right? I'd say maybe slightly autistic, right? And he wanted to play second base. Okay. So I put him at second base. In the inning, every ball was hit to second base. And the poor guy, I was like, oh, okay. Because it's not like, I don't care how many runs are being scored. Okay. That's nothing to do. I felt bad for him. I'm like, I can't believe this. Right? Because they're all right-handed hitters. I got him at second base. Mm-hmm. So I moved him the next inning to right field, right, to protect him. Mm-hmm. Okay? 4 balls got hit to right field. I'm like going, oh. So the third inning, I moved him to left field since everything's been going to win. I'm trying to protect. I'm trying to somehow get confidence for him. Mm-hmm. Okay? It has nothing to do with the winning and losing. My heart's breaking. I'm trying to coach this thing out. My heart's breaking for this little guy because he's trying his guts out, but everything, he's like a magnet. I move him to left field. First 3 hits of the inning go to him. I'm like going, I'm thinking to myself, God, I'm living wrong. All right? And you know what? That was a game. As the season went, okay, he got better. He worked hard, the whole thing. One day, this was like maybe 10 years ago, he comes up to me in the grocery store, hugs me. He says, Coach. Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
You know, I thought the world of that, but like winning and losing. I mean, you coach to win situations and things like that because you're trying to give that. I could care less if they win or lose. I care that they win for them. All right. And that's all I cared about. I wanted them to be successful for them. Mm-hmm. Right. I never got in the car and went, oh, what a great game I coached. What the hell cares about that? Yeah. It's like it was all about them, you know. And then they do the travel team thing at the end. And I did coach travel teams. Okay. And I'm talking, when I mean travel teams, like we went down to Huntington, we went over to Clearfield, we went over to Petersburg, you know. Yeah. That's what I mean by travel. It was all like within
an hour.
Yeah. It was like when the season was over. And I had a player, and father got upset, you know, that he wasn't selected for a travel team. And like I looked at him, I said, I'm not going to mention the father's name because great guy, great
name was
guy.
Jason Lord.
No, but I said to him, I'm sorry, but I said he only hit 121 this year. I said I kind of couldn't really justify getting him on the team. All right. So I got the lecture and the whole thing. I said, okay, I'll do what I can. So I got him on it. I did. I got him on like the second team or whatever with that. And and I remember we played them at one point, and he had a great game against us. And his father's like, "See, I told you." I said, "No, I'm thrilled for him," you know. But like when you do the travel team thing, like I'm talking like I'm not travel,
like
an all-star team.
Yeah.
First one, you are gung ho and set to go. Hey, all right. Second weekend, you're like, okay, well, let's see how we do. Third weekend. God, if we could lose 2 today, be over with. Right. But then you get out and you start coaching the game, and then you coach the game. You're like, oh, okay. Right. But like all these people travel all over the country now in this stuff.
And
it just doesn't make sense to me.
These leagues, it's like you're not like an all-star league where it's a summer thing. Because I played in the all-star leagues in baseball, and that was always really fun. It was always you'd play towns nearby. And there was a state tournament, but that's that's an all-star thing. That's a different style.
Absolutely.
But when it's during the season and you're being told, hey, we're playing tonight, and it's, let's say, we've talked about this. Let's say I'm in Cheshire, Connecticut. Let's say I'm in State College. You're in State College. Like, oh, tomorrow we're going to go play in Harrisburg, and then next week we're going to go play in Erie. It's like,
or you might be going to Louisville.
Or you're going to Louisville. Or hey, this week by the way, we're flying out to Indianapolis to go play there. Yeah. It's like, at what point is it hurting? It's hurting the kids. Okay. I'm just going to say it. It is hurting development of the personalities of these kids and these teenagers, because you're doing all of these things, and these parents, you're pouring all this money, and they love the sport, but it drains the sport. It drains them of their love of the game. As someone who played youth baseball, like, I loved it.
In
baseball
general, yes, it does.
My baseball my favorite thing in the world. If I could go back and play baseball like when I was a kid, I want to. I want my coach to bring a tennis racket out and a tennis ball and hit it sky high to catch the pop-up, and if we do, and if we all catch it and throw it on home, if we all nail it, we get free ice cream for the day. Like, whatever the thing is. Like, that's fun. But then, all of a sudden, you get a coach who swears at you. You're a 9-year-old getting sworn at by a coach. It's terrible. But the coach is like, I want you to be better, and you're better than this. And he swears at you, and he cusses you out. And then you're being told to travel to these games. You lose the fact that you're, like, with the players and with the people that you grew up with playing all the time. And, like, you look at, I'll give you an example. LeBron James. Him and his high school teammates had played together for years because they grew up and playing in the same leagues growing up and just basically stayed together under the same high school and all this stuff and are still great friends today. Yeah. And you don't see that now. Like, you see it where these kids have, like, oh, I played 1 year at Montverde in basketball, and I played with this kid 2 years ago at Spire. And I'm like...
Yeah. I know.
There's a piece of sport that's being lost.
I'm at IMG. I'm at Montverde. I'm, you know, whatever the hell the one that is in Virginia.
Yeah.
Right. I never, in all the time that I did coaching between basketball and baseball, I never one time saw a coach mistreat a kid on any team. Not even close. I mean, the people I were around were all really, I mean, because we'd have to do draft meetings and things like that when it starts, you know. And they were all just really good people. Really good people. And because there's no place for that. Okay, there's no place for that. For people who see me do this a long time, I think people know that the great sports writer Peter King and I grew up in the same town. And we played in the same Little League team. And, yeah, we, quote, won a championship. Okay, great. All right. Which is fine. And I was talking to this a few years ago, and Peter coached Little League at one point, but he had daughters. And his daughters played softball, and he coached softball in Montclair. And we were talking one day on the phone, and we were both talking about how we coached Little League. And we did exactly the same way, where we played everybody as much. I mean, and he was maybe more exact than I was. He was trying to get it so everybody had the same innings when the season was over with. I just kind of did it like
by feel.
Yeah. Right. Along the way. And the reason we did it was because of the guy that coached us. Right. The guy that coached us was, oh, darn, I've got to put you in for 2 innings. Right. Well, when we played in the same team, I was the darn. I got to put you in for 2 innings. Because he's 1 year older than me, so he was the older player. We played the same position. We both played first base. Right. Now I would have too. I mean, he was a terrific hitter. Right. But it was like the team won, but neither one of us looked at it as a great experience. At the ages 11 and 12 at the time, right? I mean, we look back on it, and we both coached completely different than this guy coached because of him.
Yeah.
Like we both, I mean, it was amazing how we both came to that conclusion. And he covers the NFL, he covers the Giants, he covered the Bengals, the whole thing. I'm covering Penn State, college football, college basketball. So we're in stuff where like there are stakes every single game, and this is the highest levels and the whole thing. And when it came to youth sports, we both had the same conclusion as to how to do it. It wasn't what we were covering, and it was 180 of how we were coached when we were playing the game. 180 of it.
And that's why having a coach who cares about you matters, because you have those coaches. I had coaches.
Yes.
That I was a 9-year-old, and he cussed out our whole team because we lost a game. We were undefeated, but we lost one game. We lost one game somewhere towards the end of the regular season, and he was like, "How dare you lose?" And he cussed us out, and we were 8, 9 years old. He, of course, was then booted out of coaching in the league because parents were like, "Hey, you swore at kids." was a problem. But that happened. He's booted out. But then inversely, you said that the kid you coached later came up to you and hugged you and said, "Hi, coach."
Yeah.
I have a coach who was my favorite coach ever, Coach Chris. And he knows, as we've talked about this, I still call him Coach Chris. Mm-hmm. He's the dad of one of my friends, and he'll say, "Don't call me Coach Chris." And I'm like, I'm never not going to call you that. Like, it's the, like, I can remember all of those practices and all those games. And, like, yeah, we loved winning. But that wasn't the end-all be-all. The end-all be-all was making sure we had fun and learned and understood and respected one another. Mm-hmm. There was never arguing. It was always, let's figure this out and hash it out. And it was talking through everything. And, like, if I ever get to coach a youth sports league, I'm going to coach like he did. Because I can remember all of it. And I'm like, the joy I had and the fun it was. And the fact that, like, yeah, I wanted to win. But it never got to a point where everyone was angry at each other when we were either 7 years old or 14 years old. It didn't matter how old you were as a kid growing up. It was like, we want to win, but we want to have fun doing it.
I'll never forget. I had a parent come up to me and say, I don't understand why you're yelling at the kids. I said, I'm like, yelling at the kids? I said, what are you talking about? He says, I saw you, like, you're yelling at the outfielders. I said, oh. I said, there's a difference between yelling at them and yelling to them. I said, when I'm telling them to move over maybe about 10, 20 steps over, I said, that's the only way they can hear me. I said, they're too far away. And she looked at me and she said, oh, I'm really sorry. She says, yeah, okay. He says, that's, oh. I said, the center fielder can't hear me. I said, the left fielder, I said, I don't have to say too much. I said, we're on the third base side. I said, but right field, center field. She looked at me and says, oh, I'm really sorry. I didn't really think of that.
And they're not paying attention. They see an ice cream truck go by and they're like, oh, look at that ice cream. What do I want from there? Oh, look, my coach is pointing at me. Why is he pointing at me? And like, that's the inner dialogue of a kid. But that's the point, is coaching and all of these fun things. The piece of the soul of who athletes are is being lost by the fact that the point of entry to all these sports is so expensive, and it's all predicated around travel sports now. And the youth leagues, the things that everyone grew up playing, it no longer exists. You can't just play with your friends and play with your community. You have to play in these travel leagues where it costs thousands of dollars and hours and days of time and weekends and months of time.
Well, you know what? Coming up at the end of next month will be the start of high school football season. Mm-hmm. And you now have players that transfer high schools. You know, it doesn't happen often, but it does happen. You also have players that will go to instead of public, they'll go to a parochial school, right? And you can be recruited to do that. Okay. And it always bugs me when I see that. And here's the reason why it bugs me. And again, this goes back to my youth and growing up. Mm-hmm. Like, we played for our high school in our town. And there's always been something special about playing for your town.
It's the same feeling you get with when you represent your country, of like, you're representing the U.S. So in this case, you're representing where you're from. You're representing State College. Right. You're representing Cheshire, Connecticut. Like, you're representing you and where you live and all of it. And
it's high school. Yeah. Now, if it turns out you're really good and they're going to recruit you, great. And if you can get to the next level, great. Mm-hmm. I mean, our quarterback, for example, my junior year in high school, he was really good. He ended up going to UConn. His teammate there was Kirk Ferentz, right? Right? At UConn, right? But Joe was a terrific quarterback. Joe Dippo was his name. Terrific quarterback. Okay. The next year, we actually had a better record without him and had nobody on the team that played college football. Maybe they played at a small school someplace, but we had nobody on that team that was recruited. And we actually had a better record. Thanks for listening to Sports Talk with Steve Jones. Catch the latest from me on the 7 Mountain Sports YouTube page. Find clips of the show on Twitter, Instagram, and Facebook by searching up 7 Mountain Sports.